Hello and welcome to Radio Zindagi. This show is called Confessions of a Futurist with Sanjiv Goyal. This program is sponsored by Droices, NTTVC, and the IIT Delhi Excellence Foundation. Now over to our amazing host, Sanjiv Goyal.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Our show is very unique. We bring futurists who have seen the past and able to execute in past too. And we have a very special guest today, Mr. Naren Gupta. Naren is Silicon Valley legend. He has started several companies, helped several entrepreneurs, did a lot of phenomenal work. I can tell you a lot about him, but I don't want to take too much time because we have only 30 minutes. But before I invite him on our show, those who may not know him, he is one of the investors in Snapdeal, PubMatic, Amcheck. He picked very unique companies. He has a very interesting investment philosophy. He finds entrepreneurs mostly based out of India and who understand the international market, or at least their product has potential in international market. And he has a very hands-on approach as compared to other VCs. So let's talk to him and let's discuss what is his predictions for the future, especially in today's time. Naren, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Looking forward.
So, our first question is always, do you have any confession for our audience? I hope you are prepared.
Well, I'll tell you something, Sanjeev. I have made more mistakes in my life than almost anybody I know. And, it is out of those mistakes come the greatest things. It's like a lot of the discoveries, if you go back, X-rays and, radioactivity and so on, came out of mistakes in the lab. So my confession is, please don't hang me for my mistakes. Hopefully I did enough good things. People who know me closely, know how many dumb things I do. The world sees only the good things I do, fortunately. So it's been all a very good life.
I'm a big fan of yours, and thank you very much for being on the board of IIT Delhi Excellence Foundation. Under your guidance and leadership, team is doing a pretty good job. This year is really tough year for all of us. So we are working really hard. So thanks for your support. We will talk some other time what IIT Delhi is doing around this time, especially around the COVID-19. There are a lot of challenges India has. So coming back to the kind of investments you have done. So I find you are a big fan of open source.
Yes.
Why?
Well, the technology until about 20 years ago touched only the Western world, the rich world. But the needs are the greatest in the developing markets, and really for the 7 billion people who have not been affected by technology. And that is where open source comes in. It gives everybody to participate in the benefits of technology. People can try things before they buy. And I'm a big believer that when you build products that serve 7 billion people instead of 700 million or 70 million, you will ultimately make money. But more importantly, you'll have a bigger impact. And that is the core of what we do with open source. We want to democratize technology. And that's the only way I see to do it.
So it's very, it's very close to the conversation I had last week with Sam Petroda. And we talked about most smartest people are busy solving rich people problem because they can pay. Nobody is really thinking about the problem of the people who may be able to pay, but not the kind of money they want to charge. So it is very refreshing. And I'm a big fan of the open source, what work it is doing. So let's talk a little bit about the COVID-19 situation and which of your company is doing some work in that area, or those platforms can be leveraged. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because you know exactly what's going on and major problems we are dealing with today, globally, not only India.
Right. Let me kind of answer the first question. First of all, I believe the past was about serving rich people. the future is about serving everybody.
Mhm.
The reality is that the underperforming poor economies are growing faster. Africa is going to be one of the fastest growing continent in the next 25 years, even faster than Asia, for a
Wow.
variety of reasons. So I think we have seen the past, but we need to be prepared for the future. Now, COVID-19, there are a lot of challenges. India is going through one of the worst human crises in decades, in my opinion. And the way we have our team in India is, our Nexus team in India is doing variety of things. But the conclusion we have, the short-term need in India is logistics. Even if you can get oxygen concentrators, how do you get them to the right place at the right time and have them installed? And we are fortunate to have one of our companies, Delivery, which is the biggest logistics company in India. And those leaders in that company, Sahil Barua, who is the CEO, came to us and said that his conscience says we must direct all our resources to addressing the COVID crisis right now, even if it means a complete loss of revenue for us for some period of time. And we could not be more cheering of people, leaders like that.
Yeah, it's
We
a
are,
big
we are
thing for us
arranging
here.
we are arranging mega flights. We are arranging thousands of our trucks to deliver not just medicine and oxygen concentrators. There is likely to be a problem with food, and
Big one.
it's not there today. It's going to be, because there is going to be, all the migrant workers have gone back to the villages. So we are going to have to really, the problem is just beginning. We will address the immediate need, but the long-term impact is going to be significant. It's not about money alone. You can throw all the money you want to. If you can't get your oxygen concentrator to the right place at the right time, have it installed and be working, it is not going to do anything. So three of our logistics company, Delivery being the largest, is really directing all its resources.
That's phenomenal.
We are arranging these mega flights from China. We are arranging flights from the US to deliver medical supplies and whatever is needed. And we could not be happier.
That's wonderful. And we started the task force under IIT Dev, and we are getting a lot of traction. In fact, we are considering setting up like a makeshift hospital in IIT Delhi, at least for the students and the teachers and professors. So we kind of isolate, and even if we can find enough doctors, possibly get more people there. So I'll reach out to you separately.
Yes. I think, and I should say happily that two of the founders of Delivery are IIT Delhi graduates.
So I should talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
they will do anything.
I want to learn from them how we can, because we have a lot of volunteers now. We have recruited almost 150 volunteers. But the same thing, exactly the challenge you talked about in logistics, and we are having the same problem is, where do we start? What are the things we really need to do on the ground? But coming back to the technology, your company, you have invested in H2O, which is one of the leading AI company and one of the leading AI, almost like an open source player, because open source is kind of, the word has been stretched in the last few years. So I'm a little reluctant saying it's completely open source, but how companies like H2O can help us predicting these issues going forward, so we can isolate ourselves. And let me explain you what I meant by that. So today we have detections for tsunami, we have detection systems for earthquake, we have detection system for pretty much a lot of natural calamities. We know when it is going to rain, when we go to snow, but we don't know when all of us are going to fall sick like that.
One of the things we have repeatedly asked the Indian government is to provide good collection of good high quality data.
Mm-hmm.
The H2O can provide the algorithms, but it can't provide the data.
All right.
I think US has done a very good job in collecting data across the board.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things we need to do in India, whether it is relates to floods or dry seasons or whatever, we are not going to be able to react in time. unless we have data and we have the right algorithms. I can hire people to write algorithms. H2O can hire people, but H2O can't create data.
No,
So
what
I think one of the most important challenges as AI takes hold is collection, organization, deployment, access of high quality data, while preserving privacy. It's not straightforward things to do. So I think the Indian government has done a much better job compared to 5 or 10 years ago, but we have miles to go. The quality of data in India is generally poor.
True. And I've seen a lot of that data because we did some work with IMHE, which is healthdata.gov. Bill Gates Foundation is one of the major investor or
Sponsor?
Yeah, sponsor of that. Dr. Chris Murray started this organization 10 years ago, did a brilliant job. In fact, that's the book I'm planning to recommend to everyone to read. One Doctor for 8 billion people. It's a beautiful book. You should read it, the kind of work they are doing. They have petabytes of data. In fact, I was surprised. It seems like they have more data about India than Indian government. I don't know how. Nachiket Moore was involved from Indian side earlier. So there are a lot of interesting data sets available. My question and ask, Naren, is we have built these warning systems for the natural calamities, and we are perfecting it. How can someone or organization like H2O, you have brilliant thinkers in a lot of your companies. They can create this kind of infrastructure, more like a cloud infrastructure, which is more like an open source infrastructure, where all the countries can bring their data and anonymize it, but still we can find these warnings like COVID-19, these different strain traveling from this place to this place. That kind of system, I believe it's a greater need, because I personally think it's not over yet. We are looking at India right now, almost 20% of Americans are, 20%, I was just reading the data.
Yep.
In US has been vaccinated. We have administered almost 232 million doses in America.
In the US, the number is over 50% now have gotten at least one dose.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is one dose.
20% maybe is that people who have gotten both doses. Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean we have the herd immunity yet.
Yep.
And new strains are coming. We don't know how those new strains are going to create challenges. And COVID is just the beginning of these new kind of diseases, in my understanding. So we really need a global infrastructure, almost like an open source software, where we can bring, and the people and the companies and the government organization can analyze their data and help build a better system at the global scale. What do you think about that?
I think that's going to be essential, because COVID does not know national or continental boundaries. Today, people are traveling from everywhere to everywhere. And even if COVID is conquered, as you said, there will be new strains of COVID or new kinds of diseases. So I think it's going to be incumbent upon us, and maybe incumbent upon the UN, to bring people together, not just for the greater good, but for the good of everybody, every citizen of their own country. I believe it's going to happen. I think we have learned a lesson. I hope we have learned a lesson. I think we are completely unprepared for what happened. I think we were completely uncooperating with each other. We were not cooperating. We don't know what the source of COVID is still. I think that's all that is going to be something hopefully we'll learn. And I think the sooner we start building this infrastructure, the better off we are all going to be. But I believe in the human race ability to learn, at least a little bit. So we'll see what happens next few years. I think one of the post-COVID thing is going to be early warning system. And early warning system is going to be both global and local. The reality is, if we had acted on early identifying hotspots and do local lockdowns and taken more stronger action in India particularly, the situation would not be that much out of control that we have right now. I think the worst is not over yet. I don't think so. You are probably 2, 3, 4 weeks away from the peak. Who knows? I think the message is loud and clear in India that this is not something to ignore. So, we will get there. We will get there. I think that enough people going to. The other part of it is just the how far we have come in drug design. The whole mRNA is basically fundamentally a digital technology. You can take one part of the gene and plug something else in. That's beautiful, because that means computers are going to be designing drugs, designing, right, like anything else. And I think that is another area which I believe AI will play a massive role. When you convert the problem into a digital problem and be able to predict the kind of mRNA gene sequences you need, you're going to see a revolution in how some of these things are addressed. I'm an optimistic guy. I guess you have to be an optimist.
So am I. And Naren, we are going to solve this problem one way or the other. I personally believe this problem is not just for governments to solve, because when people talk about it and I say, really, who is government? It's us. We are the one who elected them. We are the one who are involved. And if we don't take actions, it's not going to happen. So criticizing a government leader, just one guy, doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
So we all have to join hands.
They're trying their best. I mean, we have challenges in the US. There is a significant percentage of population that doesn't want to get vaccinated. And I just don't understand what the logic is, but you have to respect people's individual feelings.
So we have a question from audience that we haven't stopped travel from India to US. And a lot of people are coming to San Francisco even now. And we have no check. So are we bringing that virus to our current home? And if we are, what are we doing about it?
Well, I think I would say that's a area of concern. And it should be an area of concern. I think at least for the next 2 or 3 weeks, the flight should be stopped. It's not good for India or for the US.
Any country.
Any country. So some countries have already stopped the flights from India. But I think the stricter the controls we put in place, the quicker the problem will be solved.
Yeah, so we definitely need to self-isolate and quarantine. But I'll give you another interesting challenge India is dealing with. So you know me, and so I am the guy with actions. I want to execute things. So I was talking to my friend 2 days ago, and he said that he has access to 100 oxygen generators or concentrators. And I say, how many can I get? He said 20. So I say, okay, here is what I'm sending the money right now, and get me 20. And he said, yeah, these are going to be on the plane tomorrow. The plane landed in India, and Indian airport asked pilots before they could dock that they have to quarantine for 14 days. They refused, and the plane went back without offloading the products.
I'll go.
Yeah. So it's just a bizarre situation, and I'm not sure how do we handle situations like that. I know you can't answer that, but this is really an interesting time for all of us. So let's continue to talk about AI and how we can build and collaborate to at least visualize the systems of the future. So if I want to start, or if our audience wants to start building a system like that, early warning system or early health warning system, where do they start? Do you have some ideas and suggestions for them?
I would say focus on how you collect and organize data. Yeah. Algorithms will come. And algorithm can be done in a short period of time. But the thing about data is, if you don't capture it while it is there, it is lost forever. So I think, to me, the most important thing you do is capture the data and organize it. Yeah, find the easiest, cheapest way to capture the data.
Yeah, but we have data of more than 100 million people in US today because of COVID.
Yeah, I think we need a time series kind of data. It says that what are the patterns that are emerging, in this situation, and I think the incentives to build the right algorithms will come,
Mhm.
But right now, it's kind of a chicken and egg problem. There's no data, so there is no incentive in building algorithms. And because there are no algorithms, there's no incentive in collecting data. I'm a very big fan of getting the right data because, once you have the data, you can experiment with algorithms. But once the
So,
data is gone, you just can't do anything.
so I'll always talk a little bit about the personal side. I know today's topic and the situation is hard pressing, so I couldn't talk, but it'll be nice for our audience to know a little bit about your background, what you like, where you grew up, and how you got here.
Well, I grew up in Delhi, and I only lived in Delhi, and then I was at Caltech for a year, so I lived in the LA area for a year, and I have been in the Bay Area since 1970, over 50 years. And it's always one step at a time. Do my basic, motto in life is every day I come to work or I do my work and I ask myself, what is the best I can do to make the most contribution to my organization, to society in general. And, the progress looks slow on a day-to-day basis, but over years and decades, it can, you can build mountains with doing little right thing every day.
Well, Nexus Venture is less than 13-year-old company, and you have built several successful companies.
We are building huge companies that are transformative in nature. But, for the first 5 years, looked like we were a failure because, it takes time. We want to build companies that last. And, nobody really gave us this thing on what we are doing. So, I think but I think to me, the most important thing that has gotten me here is I am very, very curious about everything. I want to, I things that are never going to help me in my career or in my life. I want to understand the structure of the moons of Jupiter or whatever else, of why supernovas happen or gravitational waves, or you just name it. What is life like in Uzbekistan? So, how divided the, Genghis Khan go through that part of the world? What was the reason for it? So, and you always find nuggets of wisdom in everything of that kind you look at. And, and everybody else gets opportunities. You just got to grab onto it.
Sure.
Yeah. And I would say in life, the fun is in putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. I'm not saying, take a dip into a fast flowing river if you don't know how to swim. That is probably,
That's a stupidity or society.
that's stupidity. But, putting yourself, if you know how to swim, going over big rapids and maybe falling in the river definitely makes you uncomfortable. And that's where you learn.
Yeah, take your chance.
Learning is all about putting yourself in situations which require you to do something special, but don't kill yourself in the process. You don't need to kill yourself. Just be on the boundary of killing yourself, so, so I think that's kind of it. But I would say philosophy of life is that, be comfortable about being uncomfortable.
Being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
That's a philosophy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, pushing yourself to the boundary, pushing yourself to the edge, and do that every day, And don't worry about the progress day to day, because progress day to day seems very slow, but over days, months, and years, it is monumental.
So, Naren, just changing the topic from the audience. India has this concept of big metros, huge cities, which are pretty hard to manage.
Yeah.
And in America, you and me saw the cities are divided far more manageable, and they're a little bit better structure around it. And the civic sense is there. There are a lot more you can do. What do you think about that?
Well, I think the urbanization has a lot of challenges across the board. And it is environmentally generally quite bad. It is by and large, even the US cities, some of the cities are not manageable, LA being one of them, traffic is bad and stuff like that. It sort of works. There are some advantages to the cities, but I think the future is going to be about bringing about economic growth while reducing the need for people to come to big cities. Not an easy thing to do. I think Prime Minister Modi has worked on a lot of initiatives, building access to villages, providing them mechanisms to make good living there. So I don't believe that 50 years from now, the big cities will be
Things will be very different.
will be
So
different.
Naren, we have only one more minute. Any parting thoughts for our audience?
Live your dream. Basically, I would say that, don't feel compelled to be a success in a month or a year or whatever. Just do the right thing every day and make life fun. I probably have the most fun life of everybody. I've traveled all over the place, and you know, I'm one of the very good bridge players. Probably one of the
One of the best in the world. Top 10, right?
right. So and it keeps me young. It is such a thinking game. So live your dream, but don't get too impatient, but also don't kick back too much. Just go for it. If you want
Take
to
your chances.
yeah, right. The fun is in putting up a good fight.
Naren, I can't thank you enough for your time today. It's really, really phenomenal. I also want to thank our audience and Radio Zindagi for giving me this chance. Please remember what Naren said. Live your dream. Take your chance. Go for it. And if you are curious, you will find solutions of most complex problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
See you on
Radio.
next Wednesday. Thank you, Naren.
Thank you.